Alright, today we're going to be adjusting finger linkage and plane linkage. This is plane linkage, all three open. Finger linkage, if you want to choose not to operate one, all you do is open the finger lever, and this one will stay closed while these two operate, open and close. So that's the difference. Crescent wrenches. Tools you're going to need a 9/16 wrench, 7/16, ½ inch, pair of needle nose pliers, and a pair of vice grips. And first I'm going to show you how to install them. I'll install the finger linkage first. You slide it to where all three levers fit on all three valve lifters. You take your 9/16 fine thread bolts. I'm actually missing a bolt. Run the bolt through the block, and we put two I'm going to show you how to install the linkage now. You place the linkage on the three valves. You take your 3/8 fine thread bolt and one washer. Run your bolt through the linkage block. Put the washer behind it. Take your other bolt through the other block. Put your washer behind it. Here's your plane linkage. It goes on the same exact way. I'm going to use my impact and tighten them up. One thing we want to make sure is if it can actually move. That way it's not bound up. Like this one is a little harder to move. So I'll loosen up the bolts. It could just mean that these blocks are at an angle. So you tap it a little bit. Straighten them out, just tighten them up. Alright, that's better. First thing we do after the linkage is installed is we center the linkage on the valve stem, just the center. We always go off of the center. So once you have it centered where the gap between these two stamp pieces is in the center of the valve lifter, pressure washers flush against the block, and then you just tack it. Moved a little bit on me. Tack that washer. We're not tacking the washer to the block, we're tacking the washer to the stainless steel rod. Same with this one. I'm going to move it over, get it in the center, and tack it. Make sure none of your weld bearings have impeded its movement. They all move freely. Now we're going to start adjusting them. I take a vice grip and I clamp on the center or to the right of this block. And what I do is I check and make sure all three valve stems, if they're being pressed down at the same time. We always adjust on the downstroke, never the upstroke. pretty close. A trick is if you want to look at these two spray valves, just cover this up. That way you're not looking at three at once. Cover this up. Those ones look pretty adjusted. This one is pressing down before this one, so therefore I need to take my crescent wrenches, clamp on these two, and push this one down so these two actuate at the same time.
JJ, show that again, that the one's pressing down before the other.
These two are pressing down at the same time, but this center one is moving, this outer spray valve is not pressing down at all. So this one's wiggling, this one's not moving at all, so therefore we need to press this part of the linkage down. So I'm going to take my big crescent wrench, tighten it up to the center one, take the smaller one out here, and we're just going to bend this lever down by lifting up on it and keeping this one straight. It only needs a little bit. Now they are both pressing down and actuating at the same time. Alright, let's go over to the finger linkage. You adjust it the same way, the only difference is you have to open these levers and you clamp on these blocks instead of these. So I'll clamp down on it. Alright, these two outside ones are pressing down before the center one. And we always go off of the center valve, so therefore both of these need to be bent up so that they match this one. Alright, move my vice grips. Take my needle nose pliers, open up the center, and open up the outside. You only work on one side at a time. You don't open this one. You'll do that one later. But on this one, you clamp on these blocks. And since these are pressing down before this, you push this down. You close them up. See if those are even close. Now, let me adjust this. Alright, these two are pressing down at the same exact time now. This one is still lagging a little bit behind. So I'm going to do the same on this side. Open up your center spray valve again. Take your crescent wrenches. We're going to bend this down. Now they are all pressing down at the same time. And just do that with your whole bar, and then we'll be ready to set your control arm and your air cylinder. We're going to set the control arm and the pneumatic cylinder. First of all, make sure you have the jam nut on top of your cylinder connector. And we have a 5/16 jam nut or lock nut here. The key is do not tighten this up too much. The control arm needs to pivot. If it's too tight, it's going to bind up and it's not going to open and close the linkage correctly. So first of all, we make sure all these are loose. We slide them onto the feet. Now that we have our 1/4 inch lock nuts, put them on the bolt. I'm going to switch out my socket. Now what I do is I tighten them up, but then I'll back them off because you don't want it jamming the air cylinder. Back them off maybe half a turn. You want to have a little bit of play in these. Now, all this is an air valve that I made just to add air to the bottom port of the pneumatic cylinder. You can use the hoses that are already on your rear assembly. Just make sure you only put it on the hot side, which is the bottom. All right, air's on. Therefore, the air cylinder is not going up or down because we want the air cylinder fully actuated when you weld it to the linkage. We're going to take our vice grips, clamp on the linkage again. You keep the cylinder straight, the control arm straight. And what we're going to do is inside this stem, there is a spring located right above the ball and sleeve. And it's pressing down. We don't want it fully down. We don't want it all the way up to where it's not pressing on the string or the spring. So we find the center. And that's when we weld it. Alright, just tack it into place. Release my air pressure. It looks a little crooked, so we're just gonna, while it's tacked, we're gonna make it straight. Oop. A little too hard. Fully down, release it just a bit. Right. Now what I'll do is I'll run a bead on it. That linkage is done. Before I weld the control arm on the finger linkage, I'm going to go over how you can tell that you welded it in the correct place. If you actuate the linkage completely down, you still should be able to move with your finger this stem. So that's good. We're going to go with the finger linkage now. I always clamp it on the left side. Make sure our air's on. All right. That's fully down. Now we're going to lift it up. We're going to find the middle of this play right here and tack it. Relieve your air pressure. I'm going to run a bead here. Alright, now let's check and see. All the stems still move. And that's adjusted and welded and done.